You ever just wonder if we could actually talk to another animal? I mean, not just train them, but have a real conversation and understand what they're thinking? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to explore as we dive deep into the incredible and, frankly, mind-bending world of dolphin communication.
Okay, so to really wrap your head around this, let's just blow it up for a second. Imagine, we actually make contact with an alien intelligence from another planet. How would we even begin to talk to a mind that's, well, completely alien to our own?
But here's the thing. What if that alien intelligence wasn't out in the stars, but right here in our own oceans? This is the story of our decades-long quest, a journey that's been brilliant, controversial, and full of surprises to finally talk to dolphins. All right, so our story kicks off back in the 1960s. It was an era with a dream straight out of a sci-fi novel. It was bold, it was strange, and as we'll see, it was deeply flawed. So here's the roadmap. We're going to start in the 60s with these wild attempts to teach dolphins English. Then we'll jump to the 80s when we finally figured out we should probably be listening instead. And finally, we'll land in today's world with the absolute game changer that is AI. Okay, let's get into it.
So back in the 60s, this neuroscientist John Lilly got funding from NASA of all places to set up something called the Dolphin House. The goal was ambitious, to say the least: teach dolphins to speak English. The methods? Well, they were unconventional. We're talking isolation tanks, nonstop human contact, and yeah, even experiments with LSD.
And just when you think it couldn't get more intense, it did. One of the researchers, Margaret Howe Lovett, literally lived in a flooded apartment with a dolphin named Peter. For 3 straight months, they were together 24/7. The idea was total, absolute immersion.
But look, this whole experiment was pretty much doomed from the start, and it really comes down to basic anatomy. Peter, the dolphin, he actually did try to mimic human words. The problem is, we use our vocal cords and mouths to make sounds in the air. Dolphins push air through their blowhole. It's like trying to play a piano with a guitar. The hardware is just completely different. And this is where the story takes a really tragic turn. The project lost its funding, and Peter was separated from Lovett and sent to another facility. He reportedly died soon after by just refusing to take his next breath. For dolphins, breathing is a conscious choice. This heartbreaking end just threw these massive ethical questions into the spotlight. So the failures of the 60s, as painful as they were, led to this absolutely crucial realization. We had been acting like arrogant teachers. It was time for a massive paradigm shift. It was time to shut up, become humble students, and just listen. And wow, once we actually started listening instead of talking, we found something incredible: the signature whistle. It's this unique sound, kind of like a name, that each dolphin develops. It's how they call out to each other, how they say, "Hey, it's me," across the vastness of the ocean. And get this, the parallels to us, to humans, they're mind-blowing. You know how we talk to babies in that high-pitched, sing-songy voice? Scientists call it motherese. Well, it turns out dolphin mothers do the exact same thing. They change their signature whistles to a higher pitch when they're talking to their calves. It's this beautiful example of convergent evolution. But you know, it's not all just whistles and clicks. Turns out communication for them is also incredibly physical, really centered around touch. They use their pectoral fins to rub each other for greetings, for bonding, for sharing information. And this isn't a one-off thing. We see this behavior everywhere in different species in different oceans. It's a core part of their social fabric. Okay, so we've got names, we've got motherese, we've got this whole complex language of touch, but the big question is still hanging out there, right? Could we ever actually understand the content, the meaning behind it all? To answer that, we have to jump to today, where artificial intelligence is completely changing the game. Right now, there are 2 big AI projects leading the charge, and they're coming at this from completely different angles. One is called Chat. Its goal is to create a totally new, simple language, a sort of neutral meeting ground that both humans and dolphins can learn. But then you have Google's Dolphin Gemma, which is trying to do the original dream, actually learn the dolphin's language by crunching massive amounts of their own sounds to find the patterns. So how does something like Dolphin Gemma even work? Well, it's kind of a 3-step dance. First, you just collect tons and tons of underwater audio, and get this, they can even use a regular smartphone for it. Then, the AI model just sifts through all that noise, hunting for repeating patterns and sequences. And finally, the system starts to predict what a dolphin might say back, letting researchers interact in real time and, hopefully, build a shared dictionary. So, the million-dollar question, is any of this actually working? Are we getting closer to cracking the code? Well, some of the latest stuff coming out from this AI-powered research has revealed some clues that are, well, they're pretty darn tantalizing. You see, for decades, we were obsessed with those signature whistles, their names. But it turns out that's literally only half the conversation. The other 50% of what they're saying is made up of these shared sounds called non-signature whistles, or NSWs.
So what in the world are these NSWs? Well, simply put, they might be their words. These are whistles that all the dolphins in a group seem to share and understand. And in some recent experiments, the results were just electric. They played back one type of NSW and it caused the dolphins to get alarmed, to swim away. They played another type and it made them curious, like they were asking a question. This is huge. It suggests these sounds have specific shared meanings. We might have actually found their words.
So here we are, 60 years later, and it feels like we've come completely full circle. That old sci-fi dream of actually talking to dolphins, it might finally be within our grasp. But not by arrogantly trying to teach them our language, but by humbly using our best technology to learn theirs.
All of this just blows the doors wide open, It really makes you stop and think about what intelligence even is, and what other forms it might take right here on our own planet. And it leaves us with this one giant, incredible question. If we finally do it, if we finally build that bridge between our two minds, what on earth will the dolphins have to say?